It was an unusually cold night in October when Sarah, an avid writer, decided to take a short retreat to a secluded cabin in the woods. She had been struggling with writer's block for months, and she hoped the peace and solitude would help her reconnect with her creativity. The cabin was old but charming, nestled deep in the trees with only the distant sound of wolves howling in the night air. She set up her workspace by the window, the flickering light of the single lamp casting long shadows on the walls. The wind outside howled through the trees, but the cabin itself seemed eerily quiet. She shrugged off the unease she felt, determined to push through her block. Hours passed, and Sarah typed furiously, the words finally flowing onto the screen. But then she heard it, faint whispers, barely audible, as if coming from the walls themselves. She froze, her fingers hovering above the keyboard. The wind picked up, making the cabin creak and groan, but the whispers were still there, soft and unintelligible. She stood up, trying to shake off the feeling of dread creeping over her. "It's just the wind," she muttered to herself. But as she walked around the cabin, the whispers grew louder, now distinct enough to hear individual words. Her name. Sarah, Sarah. Her heart raced. She spun around, but no one was there. The cabin was empty. Her breathing quickened as she backed into a corner, staring at the shadows stretching across the walls. That's when she saw it, movement, flickering in the corner of her eye. A shadow darted across the floor, too quick to be human. She grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight, her hands trembling. The beam of light flickered over the walls, illuminating nothing but dust and cobwebs. But when the light swept over the far corner, there was something else. A figure, barely visible, standing still just out of the beam's reach. The whispers grew louder. "Come closer, Sarah." Panic set in. Sarah stumbled backward, tripping over the coffee table. The flashlight rolled out of her hand, its beam cutting across the dark room. For a split second she saw it, pale, hollow eyes staring back at her from the corner, its form barely human, elongated limbs twitching unnaturally. With a scream she rushed to the door, only to find it jammed shut. The whispers turned into guttural, distorted growls as the shadow moved closer. She pounded on the door, her breaths coming in desperate gasps, but it wouldn't budge. As the shadow loomed over her, Sarah's phone buzzed. It was a message from her friend, who had been trying to reach her all night. But it was too late. The shadow was already there. The last thing she saw was its skeletal hand reaching toward her, the room plunging into darkness. The next morning, the cabin was silent once again. The door creaked open, but Sarah was gone. All that remained was her laptop still on, the screen displaying a new document titled. The first line read,